Here we go. This is Chapter 5, Homework 3, Part 1 only. We're still on this side. And these are 4 review questions. So I've asked that you show work on another piece of paper. Make sure you kind of walk through your steps. And then just staple it to this piece of paper and write your name on both pieces of paper. Okay. So on a different piece of paper now, I'm going to be working on Learning Goal C review. And these are questions we've had before, but it's been a long time. So what are some of these old concepts? One, we see the word on these 4 questions, parallel, which should mean same slope. And we see the word perpendicular, which means opposite, reciprocal. Okay. So that's important. We also maybe are needing to use some old formulas. So our worksheet puts this one on there. You might also need this one. You might need the slope formula. And all these are from Algebra 1. So let's do it. Oh, that should be all I need. Okay. So now I'm just going to copy over question 1 like it says in the directions. Please make an equation from points. So I'll call that A, point 4, negative 4, and point B, the second point they give us, is 1 and 2. So I need to actually make an equation of a line through 2 points. And then here in a minute, I'm going to take a point, a third point, so I'll call that point P, and that coordinate is 4, negative 4. So this was from all the way back in Chapter 1. Let's go back over it. The slope, I use this formula right here, y2 minus y1, x2. So let's label these, x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so I've an x-coordinate, a y-coordinate. Let's use this formula to plug it in. So y2 would be 2, and y1 would be negative 4, and the formula says to subtract. So 2 minus a negative 4 all over a 1 minus a 4. So I can rewrite this. When I subtract a negative, I add, and 1 minus 4 is negative 3. So now I'm going to group what's on top, because again, this line would tell me to do everything up on top first. 6 over negative 3, so that would be, plug that into my calculator, that's my slope. Now when I read the equation, it doesn't say perpendicular or parallel, so I'm just going to keep the slope the same. I'm assuming this is the slope I need. Now I have a point. So I can use this formula if I have a slope and I have a point, and that's exactly what I've got here, and that's why they call it point-slope formula. So I'm just going to practice by copying the formula down and plug everything in. Now, I've been given a new point, so I'm going to call that point x1 and y1. Wow, it's been a long time since we did a question like this. So I do y minus my y-coordinate, which is negative 4, slope, x minus my x-coordinate, which is 4. Now I can't leave my answer like that, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. Minus a negative is add, and there's my answer. Now it doesn't say to write in slope-intercept form, which would be that one, so I'm going to leave that there. Okay, wow, maybe we need a little more practice on this. Now it says the word perpendicular. So I know that that means opposite reciprocal. So perpendicular, I need to find my slope, and then when I do, I'm going to flip the sign and I'm going to flip it upside down. That's not how you spell it. Reciprocal. Okay, so they give me an equation. This one looks a little easier. That's nice. An equation, and I don't have to do anything fancy. If you know y equals mx plus b, we like this format because if y is by itself, we know the slope is the number in front of the x. So the slope here is negative 7. Aha! But I can't keep the same slope because they said the word perpendicular. So my perpendicular slope, instead of being negative, it's positive. Instead of 7, it's 1 over 7. Now I have my perpendicular slope. Let's copy over the point from the problem. So the problem says point P is 9 and negative 6. So I'm going to do the same thing I did here, same exact steps. Y minus y1, slope, x minus x1. So I'm given the point, I'll call this x1 and y1. And so y minus y1 would be y minus a negative 6. Slope is 1/7, 1 over 7. X minus the x-coordinate, which is 9. Now, I can't really box that out as my answer because when I subtract a negative, that's adding. This is my final answer. Now, they also said in here, please write it in slope-intercept form. Well, this is when it gets all yucky. And I have to deal with fractions and adding fractions. So if you're not comfortable with this, it's just something we got to keep on practicing. So don't get too frustrated with it. Just think, oh, I need more practice. So let's practice. 1/7 times x is 1/7 x minus 1/7 times 9. So when we multiply fractions, we multiply their numerators and multiply the denominators. So I'll rewrite this. 1/7 x minus 9 over 7. Now to get it in slope-intercept form, I need y by itself on one side. So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. But there is a big problem here. Eek. There's a problem. This is a fraction and that's not a fraction. And I can't subtract two numbers that aren't fractions. So I've done one part of my goal. I want to get y by himself. That part I did. But here, now I have to rewrite the number negative 6 as the number negative 36 over 6. The number 6 really is the number 36 over 6. They're the same exact number. So this number here is the number negative 6. I promise. You can plug that in the calculator. Now we can rewrite this. Y is equal to 1/7 x. And the numerators, now I can combine negative 9 minus 36 and get 45. What have I done? I made a mistake. Negative 36 over 6 really is negative 6, but I need the denominator to be a 7. Uh-oh. So now I need the number 42 over 7. Sorry about that. All right. So the number 42 over 7, negative 42 over 7 is the number negative 6. And now I have denominators that are alike. So let me fix that. Oh, yuck. Really made a mistake there. So 42 over 7, negative 42 over 7, I promise, is the number negative 6. And now the denominators are alike. They're both 7s. So negative 9 minus 42 would be negative 51 over 7. Now it's in slope-intercept form. Yucko, right? Okay. Now, I'm not going to do that again. That was a lot of work, but we do get better at it the more we practice. So let's do question 3. It says parallel. So I'm going to keep it same slope. So this one might be easier. So the equation of the problem, negative 7x plus 15, and same reasoning, I know the slope is negative 7. And it says parallel, so I'm going to keep it the same. The point is 9, negative 6. So I'll call that x1 and y1. And using the formula, y minus y1, slope, x minus x1, I plug in these items. Sorry about that. My light went off in my room. Because no one's here walking around. Okay, so y minus a negative 6, slope is negative 7, x minus 9. Okay, so y plus 6, negative 7, x minus 9. Now, I probably should put it in slope-intercept form, but I'll give you bonus if you get that right. Okay, next question. Question number 4. It says perpendicular. So we know we have to do the opposite reciprocal, and they made this one even harder because they didn't tell me the slope. How mean. This is an algebra problem. So I need to get y on one side like it was back on this one. So I'm going to subtract 10x on both sides and rewrite. So that was nice, but I still have this 8. So let's divide 8 by every item, and I have y by itself on one side. So the slope here looks like the number in front of the x. Negative 10 over slope is negative 10 over 8. Well, technically I should probably write that negative 5/4. And don't forget, it said perpendicular. So the perpendicular slope would be positive 5/4. Awesome. Okay, so I have my slope, and the question gave me the point 12, -7. Okay, so let's do it. Let's plug this into the point slope formula. Y minus y1, slope, x minus x1. My x coordinate is 12, my y coordinate is -7. So y minus -7, slope is 4/5, x minus 12. So we have y plus 7, 4/5, x minus 12. Once again, I don't have time to write it in slope-intercept form, but if you know how, I'm happy to give you bonus if you can figure that out. Best of luck. Happy Halloween.